So I've had a few people asking me recently about different gear that I've had. So I thought today I might do a what's in my bag video. So you can have a look in a bit more detail at the stuff that I take with me. So starting off, let's start with the actual bag itself. This is an f-stop Kashmir ultralight bag. Now, when I bought it, it was advertised as being one that was designed for women. Now, they seem to have removed all that. Maybe the sales weren't very good for it or something, but it's got a slightly shorter frame, I think, so it helps with people who are a bit smaller, and then your chest strap up here is a little bit higher, so it works better for women. Now, these open up from the back, and these bits in here, they call them ICUs, interchangeable camera units. You buy these separately, so you can get shorter ones than this, you can get bigger ones than this. The one that I've got in here is the Medium Slope ICU. The Pro ones are deeper, the standard ones are shallower, and the Slope ones go from being deeper at the bottom to shallower at the top. Now, obviously don't have my camera in here because I'm filming on it at the moment, but that sits down in here and that can kind of sit flat because it's quite deep. On the front here, this is where I keep all my rain gear. So I've got a raincoat for my camera, which is a very basically just a bag that goes over it. There are more elaborate ones out there that probably do a better job than this. If you've got a camera that doesn't have weather sealing, then you really do need to have some better cover if you're taking your camera out in the rain. But for my camera, because it does have weather sealing, this kind of does the job. I wouldn't use it if it was just raining a little bit, but when it gets torrential, then that goes on. Rain jacket for myself. I have a bigger rain jacket that works better than this, which if I was going to go out knowingly that it was going to be very wet, I would wear, but this is a good one for being able to pack in my bag and not take up too much room. And then I've got a rain cover for my bag. Now this actually came with my Osprey bag, which you would have seen a couple of videos ago when I was doing the hiking tips video. So this was the rain cover for that, but that actually fits really well over that. So that all fits in there, and then I've got a spare microfiber cloth. This is for when it gets really wet, for drying down my camera, drying down myself. I'll get to the actual camera gear in a second, but I think first I'll just have a go through the other bits and pieces. So this is my GoPro Hero 9. You'll notice it's got some little fluffy windshields on it. Now I've got this on a ball joint buckle, I think it's called, a ball, yeah, one of those. The reason for that is on my backpack, this little thing that I can attach it to, and this allows me to get it so it's straight. So when I'm walking around, I usually leave the GoPro on there, even if it's not on. Now, this is my bits and pieces bag. This is a little GoPro case. I can't remember, Casey or something it was called, but it's pretty handy. It has in it my Zoom H1N recorder. That's got a stereo mic on the top. You can also plug in a microphone into it, so if I wanted to record audio into this rather than with the camera, then I can do that as well. Usually what I use this for is to get recordings of the sounds, the ambient noises where I am, so the birds, the waves, the wind, and that sort of thing, and it does a really good job. And I got this little cheap thing off Amazon that goes over the top for the wind. Rode microphone. So that's a little, lapel mic. So I can plug that either into here, or on the camera I've got the Rode Wireless Go as well. So if I don't want to take that out, I can still record audio on this if I want to. Now, Most of the time when I'm vlogging, I just record the audio of me talking with this little thing here. I've also got a little LED light to use with the GoPro. Now with that one, okay, change the side door and then I can attach the light to the side there if I need some light for being out when it's still dark. Now I've got a spare battery for my Panasonic S5, which is my main stills and vlogging camera. I've got a top handle that I can put into the cold shoe of my Panasonic so that I can carry it for doing video. I've got a wireless remote control. I think this works over about 100 meters. So if I do want to take any photos, say with me in it, you could use the app on your phone and do it that way, or I can use this. I've got a spare battery for the GoPro. I've got spare batteries for the zoom. They just take AAAs. I've got some little Allen keys. That's the little cover for the mic. So if I want to take the furry dead cat off and change it to that, I can. A little lens pen. So these have got a brush at one end for getting rid of dirt and grit, and then a little pad at the other end to get into the corners of your lenses. That case has got a nice little zippered part up the top there. So all the little bits and pieces I keep in there. Now, how about we clean this stuff up and have a look at more of my actual camera gear. Oh, okay, we've cleaned up, but now I don't actually have my camera gear. Hang on a second. Okay, so now, obviously my camera I'm filming on at the moment, it's the Panasonic S5, and I primarily use the 20 to 60 millimeter zoom lens that comes with the camera. I'm loving the camera. So I think I'm going to gradually over time be selling off my Canon lenses and replacing them with the Panasonic ones. So a lens that I often take with me at the moment is the Canon 70-200 f4. Now this is the non-image stabilized version, and I got this because it was the smallest and lightest of them, and it was also the cheapest. I really don't think for doing landscapes the 2.8 is necessary. It just adds a lot of cost and bulk to your gear, and anything that's too big I end up leaving home, and there's no good having a lens that you leave at home. Now this has got the Sigma MC21 adapter, so this is for being able to use my Canon lenses on my Panasonic. So normally I leave that on there because that's the lens I'm mostly using with it. Now this is my 16 to 35mm Canon. This I think I'll be saying goodbye to as well, because I'm finding that with the 20mm on this one, I just don't use this pretty much at all anymore. And I do still have a 14mm Samyang 2.8 lens. So this is a lens I bought primarily for doing astrophotography, but you know, if I'm getting rid of the 16 to 35, it means I do still have ultra wide there that I can use. This is my Canon 100mm macro. Now, this is probably the Canon lens I will hold on to for the longest, I think. It is such a nice lens. It is so sharp. The background blur is beautiful. So most of the time I wouldn't take that with me, and I wouldn't usually take this with me. So generally, if I'm going out, I only go out with 1 or 2 lenses. This one's the extra if I've got a bit of room that I can take. Last thing I didn't show in here is a few filters. So circular polarizer, that's got an adapter on it, so it'll fit on that lens. This is a variable ND filter circular polarizer combo. That does a reasonable job. I think I'd actually prefer it without the polarizer as part of the ND. What I'd actually really like is one of the magnetic filter systems, so that's something I'll probably look at down the track. this is my camera strap. So this, oops, goes like this and attaches to the camera with these two little things. So I can have the camera hanging down beside me and I can pull it up and use it whenever I want. Now, I've also got one of those attached to my backpack. So I can clip one of them to my backpack so the camera can sit there and not bounce around too much. This is my homemade gimbal for the GoPro. I've fiddled around and changed it, and I think I've actually made it worse than it was before. So it sits like that, but yeah, it does need some adjustment. So the idea is that I can, if I'm doing kind of boom shots, I can do that with the GoPro. Okay, so going to my tripod, the one that I take with me most of the time is this one here, which is a Leofoto LS-284C. Recently just put the spikes on to see if that works a bit better. Now, it's a reasonably big tripod. If I was to stand it up, that's how high it can go. It weighs, I think it's about 1.4 kilograms, including the head. The legs can go right out to the side, so it can go really low to the ground. Now, recently, I just got the Leofoto Monopod, very similar to my tripod. So this is the MP-284C Monopod, so carbon fiber again. Before this had the Neewer, however you say it, and that's actually what this bottom part is from. I took that off that monopod and put it on here. But I just found the locks were very stiff. I've had two legs actually come all the way off that had to be glued back on, and it just was a little bit flimsy. So I thought I would invest in a decent monopod, and I don't think this one actually weighs any more than that one did. So these little things here, oops, give it feet so that I can sit it down by itself. Usually what I'm doing that for is to have my GoPro on it as such. So this is my old camera, the Canon 6D Mark II. It's been such a good camera to me, really loved it. It's still a great camera for doing stills. It just didn't cut it for doing the video vlogging. The Panasonic is such a big step up from that for doing the video, but awesome camera for anybody who is looking to step up to full frame. So this with the 24-70 used to be my go-to kit, but yes, I'll be moving these along. Now, all my cameras I use with an L bracket. Panasonic has got a SmallRig L bracket because I think that was the only one that was available. So yes, my Canon, my poor Canon, that needs to find a new home for somebody to love it. So I need to send that on. And the other thing I need to send on is my Haida filter kit because it's excellent quality. It's one that comes with both the square filters that fit in and the rectangular grad filters. But I'm just trying to cut down on how much stuff I take with me, particularly since I start doing video now and I've got a few extra bits and pieces because of that. So now I just take those small screw-on ones. I will eventually get a set of the magnetic ones, I think, but yeah, I need to send this kit on to somebody who will use it too. And you know, other than the kind of microfiber cloth, and this is like a little extra pole because this doesn't have a center column to keep the weight down and also to aid stability. If I need a bit of extra height, this one just screws in between the head and the tripod and I can get that much extra, but I don't normally take that with me unless I'm going somewhere that I think like has a railing or something that I know about that I'm gonna need to get over the top of. I think that is a very thorough look in what's in my camera bag. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, then giving it a like is always a big help. And just before I go, I thought I might just quickly mention, you'll notice in the cases behind me, there's all these planes and tanks and things. This is all my partner Danny's handiwork. So not only is he excellent at making all my awesome music for my vlogs, but he's also a creative person and makes all these stuff. And some of them he's actually made completely from scratch, from hand. All right, I'll catch you all next week where, fingers crossed, I will actually be out in nature going for a nice hike in the rainforest again. Okay, I'll see you later.